Welcome to Dynamic Drumming Volume 3 with Chris Coleman, playing with precision and power. In this DVD, you will definitely experience a vast amount of rudiments, exercises, and a brief segment that features bass and drums. So sit back, relax, stay focused, and enjoy the ultimate drumming experience.
you know, a lot of people may say, you know, I love God and, you know, thank God. No, I truly do thank God for who I am and who He's destined and designing me, pruning me to be. You know, I want to thank God for where I've come, where I am, and where I'm headed.
I'm a drummer as well, and I really
A good one
appreciate
at that.
it. Thank you, man. Now, coming from Chris Coleman, you got that on tape.
Yes, I do.
Good one. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. But, you know, I'm a drummer as well, and my passion, you know, I really love to watch musicians play and minister as they play on their instrument. Chris Coleman really does have an awesome gift. But one of my questions is, what keeps you motivated to keep practicing and doing what you do best?
I'm 26, you know,
Okay.
but I've been through a lot. And if you've been through some of the things I've been through and some of the places I've been, then you would understand when I say what motivates me is the fact that God has something for me and somewhere for me to be. That's what motivates me.
Also, I would like to know who or what are some of your influences as far as the drums.
As far as the drums?
Yeah. I know it's a lot of.
Yes. Yes.
hard to answer.
I'll start off with the maybe the main five that a lot of people may know.
Right.
Will be Dennis Chambers, Dave Weckl, Steve Smith, Vinny Colaiuta, and Terry Bozzio. You know, I really over the last 10 to 12 years, I've really honed in on their styles, and I can appreciate their gifts.
Well, that leads me to the next question. What about some of your role models?
I would have to say the person most influential musically to me right now would probably be Dave Weckl.
Okay.
Two people. Dave Weckl and Israel Houghton.
And why are those two people?
Dave Weckl, I can kind of relate to his personality somewhat. He's a leader.
Okay.
You know, he's a driven person. I mean, I've had a chance to go to a couple of his clinics. Even when I was teaching at Atlanta Institute of Music, he came through, and I would just hear him talk. You know, he's kind of like his own road manager. He takes care of his own. He promotes him. You know, he's very intricate in who he is. You know,
right.
As far as a leader, a manager, a go-getter. You know, I can respect that about him. You know, and Israel Houghton, traveling with him in New Breed, and my New Breed family, my brothers and my sisters. Israel helped me to see some things about just going for it.
Right.
And when you got a gut feeling, when you believe that God has said do this or go there, you know, and to believe that you're anointed to do it, that I respect about him. That
okay.
he, you know, and he's a real brother, you know, to be as blessed as he is, where he is, you know, he's still a friend, a real brother.
Right.
And that's another one of my role models.
How did you come about to start playing with Israel Houghton?
It kind of came through Aaron Lindsay,
Okay.
which is I think I got the title correct. Co-producer, co-owner of New Breed.
Okay.
Him and Israel are co-laborers, together. I had met Aaron back in '97. I graduated in 1997. I went on tour with a gospel play. And I met Aaron Lindsay through another party, playing drums and with the play, connected, hooked up, everything. Said, yo, heard about you, God bless you, God bless you. It's kind of like that. I could go on and on.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. A lot of people want to know how things like that come about. What keeps you level-headed?
Everybody's got their own path to take, you know. But the thing is, it's like if you've been to the mountaintop, and you come down here.
Yes, sir.
And if, like me, you went back to the mountaintop and then came down again.
Down again.
After the second time, you go, okay, God, I think I'm starting to get the picture.
Yeah.
Whether it was self-inflicted or it was a season,
Okay.
And I don't want to classify that, just because you go here and you happen, that doesn't mean that it's always all your fault. If you did what God told you to do,
Right.
you just got to trust Him.
Right.
Period. Point
Right.
blank. It depends on who you are and who you're destined to be.
Right.
It depends on your calling in life. Who are you? Who are you destined to be? He's going to test you and shape your character, according to your future assignment. So if your future assignment is great, get ready for some great testing. Hello out there to all the drummers, bass players, keyboardists, and
Horn players.
guitars, horn players, and all musicians everywhere global. I'm excited. We're having a lot of fun. This is a segment that I really wanted to put together for drummers and bass players. I want to explain or have a moment here, a live moment, off the riff, the cuff, just going for it. The bass player that you saw, you'll see throughout the DVD, is a good friend of mine, Raymond McKinley, who hails from Los Angeles, California.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Happy to have
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right.
All right.
I wanted to kind of tell our story, how last August of 2004, we were playing with Rochelle Farrell at the Johannesburg Jazz Festival in South Africa. And I wanted to tell this story. This segment is about drummers and bass players working together, just exploring different options, different ideas. We'll cover a couple topics: listening, having big ears, playing with one another, playing with a metronome. First thing we want to deal with is listening. I'm gonna have Raymond play a groove, and I'm gonna talk as a drummer to some things and just point out a few ideas to possibly use if you're playing with a new bass player, or you're playing with musicians that you don't know, or you're writing music, or there's a groove come up. A lot of people, I have a lot of drummers come up and say, how do you know what to play, when to play? It's all about listening. I have to hear everything he's doing. I have to just allow it to dictate what I'm going to play. That is, if he's going to lay the foundation. Yes, we are a team. We're laying the foundation together. But if he starts it off, then I can come behind him, or I'll have to figure out where my piece of the puzzle fits. So, Raymond, I'm going to let you do your thing. All right, one of the first things I noticed as he's playing, it's a phrase. We got a phrase here. The question is it 4? Is it 8? Starting here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm thinking a 4-bar phrase. Now, dynamically, he's muting. So I don't want to come in and kill him, with some power groove or this and that. That what he's playing is not calling that from me as a drummer. So as he's playing, I'm thinking real laid back. You know, what he's playing, it has a lot of space in it, you know. It's real distinct. So I may want to approach it like this. Now, that's one way of approaching it. Now, as a drummer, it's my job to drive or keep the band, so to speak. So what I could do now, I could force him to go somewhere with this, you know. Even in that, he may not change it drastically, but what I may play may force him to rethink it or feel it a little different. So let's think about this. Going to this groove, it allows him to be free because I'm solid the whole time, as opposed to the first groove where I'm sporadic. All right, so that's just, you know, just an idea of how to approach it. You know, it was 2 different ways. I mean, I could take it, you know, 50 different ways, but then again, you know, what he's playing, he's dictate, you know, what he was dictating. He's telling me, man, I need this, or let's go here, or the music or the vibe or the groove is calling for this. And then you got to think dynamic levels. You know, I didn't come in. I mean, I could have, you know, but like I said, now we're taking it somewhere totally different. So that's just things to think about. Raymond, you got something to add to that?
Exactly what you were saying. Now, the bass line that I started with just off the cuff was something, mellow line, and you translated exactly what I was feeling, coming in with a basic mellow beat that left the space open in other, you know, so that other people, if this was a full band situation, were able, keys could come in and add whatever. If there was a vocalist, she had room to do whatever, a guitar player. So it left the space at the same time. And like you say, if it would have been a different thing, maybe a guitar would have had a distortion, we might have would have, you know, took it somewhere else. But basically how bass and drums, it was perfect, just how we think alike.
Cool. All right. And I'm gonna switch gears now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play a groove, something that comes to mind, and Raymond will switch spots here. He'll get a chance to do what I did. All right. Let me see. we see there, here it is, I'm kicking the groove, and he felt it, and, due to the fact of maybe we've studied or heard music from the past, that was nothing in particular, but it sounded like a couple of things,
right,
I'm saying, that we could have taken it 50 different ways. So I'm going to let Raymond, how did you feel groove-wise,
The way you started that group, first thing came to my mind is old school, 1970s, David Garibaldi type of groove. So in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, old school, just pocket, just play something, a little simpler if he's playing that same groove. So it can go either way, but as long as it's in that vibe, it's in that area, it's in that family, there's different directions that you could possibly go in.
Next thing we want to talk about is playing with the MPC, metronome, click, etc., etc. Reasons.
Timing.
Timing, yes.
Stay no tempo.
Tempo. Huh? Very important.
In the pocket.
In the pocket. Gotta have it.
In the pocket.
All right, then, like I said, the first aspect we dealt with was listening. The next one is playing with the MPC. Now, when we have a loop, that kind of really locks us in because it's already dictating what we're going to play.
Do, right.
So now we have to listen to one another based upon what's going on here. So I'm going to drop the loop. It's a random loop. Brother Todd Wilson is, the production manager over that. God bless you. And we'll see what we come up with.
Record that, Todd.
Yes, Brother Todd. Mm-hmm. We like that. All right, as you can see, playing with the loop, just to kind of discuss what's going on. I mean, it's strong. The loop is strong. It's got everything in it. Now, me as a drummer, I feel better locking with it. It may sound redundant, but it sounds big. Even though I'm playing with it, I got the live feel plus the track. Right. So, you hitting hard in arenas, man, it's banging, One thing I could do is play off of it, but then I'm restructuring the groove, I can take it a million different ways, but I feel better, and I know I felt the groove when we were there, just locking it in. So it's a million and one ways you can do it, but having a loop like I said, it changes the ball game. It's not like the first time, that's like the first aspect we were talking about, listening. It changes the ball game. It forces you to play what's there,
Right.
whether you play off it or not.
Now, a loop, in some cases, are a good thing, depending on the type of music you're playing. If it's an R&B, if it's a pop type of situation where the loop is enhancing the band, and like you say, you're forced to play there. In a jazz or some, gospel where you need to be more free, depending on, the lead vocalist, or if it's a fusion band or something, it will kind of hinder you. Then we can't go where we want to go. So it's good to have and to know both aspects of it, to use us, make us a loop, and also to use this and, learn how to follow and deal with that.
That's true. That's true. I tell you what, let's hit another one. We'll just pick one. And speed it up a little. I'm gonna leave it there. Let's see what Raymond comes up with.
See, right off the top, because of that loop, I don't know what kind of kick, but I hear a key of the song. It sounds like it's in C. It's somewhere in there. So playing with the percussion, it's already giving you that.
Right.
That's another one, Todd. That's another one. Yeah.
That's not Todd. Bless you once again. But like I said, when Raymond played that, like he said, it's already there. It's like, it's telling you where to go. Now, what I'm hearing, it's like a slight disco, but more of a techno.
Right.
Like a house Euro type drive, And you got to play with it. It depends on who I got as my bass player. They put the feel to it, Hit it again. A lot.
Yes.
Like I said, these aren't the way. This is a way.
Right.
Some ways to think and approach drum and bass playing. I'm a bass player as well. I went to school for bass, as well as drums. Raymond has gotten a taste of that from the music that you're playing.
Yes.
Being that most of it I wrote from the bass.
Whole lot of notes. But it was good. They were good notes. They were good.
Bless you.
They were good. Good song.
But sure. But like I said, and number one thing, have fun. Please have fun.
A lot of fun.
If you're not having fun, I mean, this is what we do, man. Right. You know, we wake up, we get up. This is what we do. Be serious. Be serious about what you do. If this is what you do, do it. Do it and do it 110%. Right. You know, I don't care what genre of music it is. You know, it could be country. You know, do it. You know what I'm saying? It could be reggae. You know, it could be fusion. Right. You know, Latin, funk, whatever. You know, do it, man. If that's what you do, do it. You know, put your 110% into it and have fun.
Have fun.
All right. Be a team player. I want to appreciate Raymond.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother.
I enjoy being here.
Appreciate you, man.
Have fun.
Becoming my brother, man. You know, sentimental. You know. God bless y'all.
God bless you.
Hello, my name is Chris Coleman, and I'm here to share something that I've been waiting to share with the masses for quite some time now. I guess you kind of say it's been in the woodshed, being perfected, so to speak. It's a practice method, an effective practice method. If applied, will revolutionize your playing, whether you're playing drums, bass, keys, or any other instrument. This method, I truly thank God for breathing this revelation on me and to me. It's concerning cutting down time. You know, I get a lot of questions as a musician when I'm out traveling, I'm playing or doing this or doing that. I get a lot of questions of, how do you practice? You know, what do you practice, or how long do you practice, or how long should I practice? You know, and I had those questions so much it bothered me. It bothered me to the point I was like, God, I got to figure out some way to answer these questions, because I don't want to leave people hanging, you know, and they just, you know, feel like they'll never grow or they'll never get it. I'm going to introduce this method, which is the ABC method. The A section consists of dealing with things centered around foundation and basic principles or basic skills. Dealing with rudiments, learning your 40 standard rudiments, learning to do basic sight reading or entry-level sight reading with counting systems. And I'm going to go into detail. I'm also going to play these exercises here in just a minute. Doing basic sight reading with the counting systems, you have to count. Whatever you're doing, learn to count. It's your guide. It's your tool. It's your metronome. It's lining you up. Okay, lining you up with time and rhythm and making you much more of a solid drummer. And the first thing I need to deal with, which is the most important, is the note value chart. The note value chart consists of 10 subdivisions of rhythm. These subdivisions of rhythm, everything you'll ever hear rhythmically, they come from these subdivisions. I also call these the 10 commandments of drumming. If you don't understand these, you're going to have a hard time trying to figure out or sight read or work through things that are a challenge to you, and it's going to hinder you. You can make it, you'll get by, but that's just it. You'll just get by. If you have the knowledge, knowledge is power. These subdivisions in order are 1 whole note, 2 half notes, 3 quarter notes, 4, the 4th level or 4th subdivision of rhythm is 8th notes, the 5th being 16th notes, the 6th being 32nd notes, the 7th being 8th note triplets, the 8th subdivision of rhythm being 16th note triplets, the 9th subdivision of rhythm being quarter note triplets, and the 10th and final subdivision of rhythm being half note triplets. I'm going to play these down in time, and I'm going to count with a quarter note pulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want you to hear the subdivisions against the time. And like I said, between and in between all of these subdivisions, this is all the rhythms, you know, taken from one another, put together, spliced here, put this here and make this there, or spread this out. That they'll all come from that. So once you have a solid foundation of this note value chart or these 10 subdivisions of rhythm, you should have, it'll make things clear for you, okay? Let's start from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? One more time from the top. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we'll have basic sight reading with counting systems. I'm going to go through and explain the 7 different ways of counting that will help you be effective in your playing. Even when I'm playing, as you see in the DVD, there are times where I have to count. You know, when I'm sight reading a chart, there are times I have to count through. When I'm learning something new, I'm learning a feel or a lick to do this and do that, and it's kind of challenging. I have to count through it. And having the counting systems built in, it makes things so much easier. There'll be times I'm in the studio and I have to get something on the spot. You know, time is money. So having the counting system, I'll slow it down and I'll count through it and nail it. You know, that right there is very rewarding. It's I consider it being victorious. You know, here it is. I had a challenge and I have the tools, the motivation. I also have the knowledge to overcome my challenge like that. All right. So now I'm going to demonstrate the sight reading with the counting systems. The first counting system that I'm going to explain to you deals with whole note. Whole note time, meaning if I have quarter note pulse going on, how I'm going to say my counting with this pulse going on would be like this. 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay? I'm going to play 12 measures of some sight reading figures there, and I'm going to play them, but I also want you to listen to how I'm counting through them, which is the first system, whole notes, okay? 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. The second system deals with half notes. Same 12 measures, and I'm going to play them again. And this time I'm going to count in the second system, which deals with half notes. How you would count half notes would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. Third system deals with quarter notes, and that is as follows. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. The next system deals with eighth notes, and how you would count eighth notes is as follows: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The next subdivision deals with 16th notes, and that is as follows: 1, 2, ready, go. 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1. The next subdivision of rhythm deals with triplets, eighth note triplets. And I can kind of sum up 3 subdivisions of triplets, counting them as eighth note triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 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 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Okay? And I can take that and run with it concerning triplets. I could get real advanced on you and count quarter notes and straight eighth notes within eighth note triplets, but that's another day, another time. Seventh system of counting is what you see only, which is when you look at the measure, when you look at these 12 measures, I'm only going to say or count exactly what is written in the measure and not the continuous straight eighth notes or straight 16th notes or straight quarter notes, okay? I'm going to demonstrate that now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, and 4, and 3, and 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. The last example I have in section A is dealing with learning the standard 40 rudiments. There are more, but we'll deal with just the standard for right now, and I don't have enough time to deal with all 40, so I'll take a common one and I'll expound on that and show you that something that seems to be simple or is applied or implied to be simple can be complex. A paradiddle consists of straight 16th notes, and counting them would be, I can count them using the 16th note counting system. 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a, okay? But I'm going to focus on the sticking of it. There is a certain sticking pattern. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say them slowly, and then I'm going to split it up. And I'm going to play the paradiddle one, my right hand on the floor time and my left hand on a snare, so you can get the sound of it, okay? Right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right. Or paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. Okay? Now, I'm going to split that up so you can get a general consensus of the sound of it. Right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left. Okay, I'm going to speed it up a little bit, and I'm going to start adding. What I'm going to do now is I'm making the accents on the downbeats. Downbeats meaning on the 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. One way to challenge yourself is to move that accent through the paradiddle, moving it from the 1 to the E, to the and, to the okay? I'm going to play those in sequence, and I'm going to count through them. Now, the sticking does not change, okay? This is what I'm expounding on a section when I say get the foundation, meaning you ought to know it. You ought to own it. You ought to be able to play this thing backwards and forwards at any time, and you not have any clogs or issues with it, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Now I'm going to move into the B section. And there are 3 examples that I want to play for you. The first one being stick control with the legend. There is a famous book that it should be in every drummer's library. It's simple. It's taking this stick control and applying this, what I call the legend. I've come up with this way of adding your limbs and your counting systems, and you picking this. I'm going to pick this, and I'm going to pick that, and challenging yourself along with sight reading, the sticking. It's kind of very basic, but yet it's very challenging. We're breaking muscle memory. We're really dealing with independence as well as the foundation. The B section, and that's what the B section consists of. Now that we have somewhat of a revelation or of the information, or we have a solid ground of what it is, now we need to know how to play it. We have to have it. We have to own it. It has to be in our system. It has to flow through our veins, okay? And I'm about to demonstrate that now. In the stick control, I'm going to run through examples 1 through 5, and I'm going to play them in my hands. But here's the challenge. I'm going to take the legend, and I'm going to, number 1, pick a counting system. Number 2, I'm going to pick a left foot system with hi-hat. And number 3, I'm going to pick a right foot system with the bass drum. And I have to play all 5 or use all 5 of my limbs using my counting or my mouth as a limb. And I'm going to try to put those all together. Now, you should never practice without a metronome. A metronome keeps you sharp, keeps you in time, and it'd be dangerous to learn how to play without one. The counting system that I'm going to choose is counting system number 3, which deals with quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the hi-hat with foot, that system that I'm going to choose there will be number 3 as well, which is eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay. The counting system that the right foot bass drum system that I'm going to use will be that of number 2, which deals with quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm going to play the same 5, the first 5 of stick control on the first page, and I'm going to pick 3 different systems. All right? Let's see. This one, I'll pick system number 4 for counting, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? And I will pick system number 5 with my hi-hat with foot, which is on the and of the downbeats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? And I'm going to pick system number 3, which is eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right? Here's that system. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, Now, the next example that I'm going to play for you is using the legend, and we're going to expound a little more in detail as far as our reading, and we're going to play the system. We're going to create a system, and I'm going to sight read, and I'm going to put what I'm sight reading, which is the melody, in the bass drum. And so I got to create a system to work on. And I have a list from this legend, as you can see, that it can go 1,000,001 ways. But I'll pick a few just to show you some things that you could do within the B section to work on your independence. But you got to always remember that you must count with this, okay? Let's pick a system. For my counting system, I'm going to pick counting system number 3, which deals with quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to pick for my right hand, I'm going to pick straight eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? For my hi-hat, I'm going to pick the ands again, on the ups, should I say. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Now, I'm also going to pick another system for my snare drum, and I'm going to switch it up here. I'm going to sight read 12 measures of rhythm or in time in the bass drum playing this system. And the system that I want to pick for my left hand for the snare drum is quarter notes. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, And I'm going to sight read these 12 measures. 1, as you can see for that example, I could take that a number of ways. I could go on for days of picking a different system for my right hand, a different system for my left hand, a different system for my feet, and a different counting system. And I could go all day, different tempos, different books, different ways of reading, and it'll be forever. And I just wanted to give you or share with you just a way to do it. The third and final example in the B section for beginner to intermediate deals with applying rudiments to ostinatos. Ostinatos meaning something that is constant, underlying a rhythm that is constant, such as something like, or I could change that up many different ways. But having that under my feet, or under my hand, should I say. And now we're going to play rudiments. Now I'm going to go back to that single paradiddle, and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to play an ostinato. What I'm playing here is 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, all right? 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, all right? 1E, a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, paradiddle. 1, 2, ready, go. 1. Now I'm going to take that same paradiddle and that same ostinato, or some kind of underlying rhythm underneath my hands, and I'm going to put my right hand on the floor time again, and I'm going to put my left hand on the snare, and I'm going to move that accent through the paradiddles, but I'm not going to change the sticking. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left will never change. Only the accents. Okay? Just like I did earlier, I'm going to demonstrate that, but now I'm going to have some kind of rhythm underneath that, okay? Now, to take it a step further, I got to add a counting system. And I'm going to add straight 16th notes, which is counting system number 5, but I'm also going to add a click. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, Now, I can take the other 39 rudiments and I can create an ostinato or create something or whatever comes to mind, and I can play that or split that up so I'll know the difference and move the accents around but keep the sticking the same. There are 40 to go through. I suggest you go to your local music store and you ask for a book on understanding rudiments, or get the understanding. If you don't have a teacher and you don't read, find a teacher. Inquire about a teacher. You know, ask a teacher, man, teach me how to read. I want this knowledge. I want this power. I want to be able to play and take the limits off my playing. That's only the beginning. I mean, I can go on and on and on. but I don't have that much time. I'd love to, but maybe you can come on over to the school when we get it all set it up. All right. Moving on to the C section, which deals with musicality. Okay. Let's recap. The A section, foundation. 3 things to learn is your standard 40 rudiments, basic sight reading, and understanding your note, the values of your notes, knowing what the 10 subdivisions of rhythm are. Okay. B section has to deal with independence, learning stick control, using the legend and sight reading, and using all 5 of your limbs. I think the B section, I could sum it up best by using all 5 of your limbs, counting your mouth as one limb, always counting, always practicing with the metronome, always trying to challenge yourself in rhythms and ways that you never would have played on your own. Okay, challenge yourself. Don't be easy somewhat on yourself. Go to the next level. Push yourself. Apply rudiments to ostinatos and applying rudiments to the metronome and playing in time and practicing in time. Okay, the C section, like I said, it deals with musicality. And the first thing I want to do is I want to play a track for you. And this track, I'm going to use the paradiddle a lot. You'll see in the track, this section also deals with playing with music now. Okay, now that we have an understanding, which is the A section, okay, we got it under our system, or we should be able to be able to play it, and we ought to be able to do this and do that with it in the B section. Now let's apply it, okay? Let's apply it. Let's make it musical. We got to make this thing sing. We got to make it sound to the point where, okay, it doesn't sound like we're practicing anymore. We're playing now, okay? That's our goal. That should be our final goal, is to play. So in this track, I'm going to introduce something that I'm going to talk about as the third example, which is odd times. There's a 3/4 time signature section, and that deals with, if I'm in 4/4, it would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now 3/4 would be 1 beat less. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Okay. So within this track, it's going to switch from 4/4 time signature to 3/4 time signature. Very simpletic yet challenging, and you're going to hear the paradiddle used quite a bit in this, okay? You'll hear it as double time. I'm going to use it in my rolls and my singles, but I'm also going to change the accents around, but not change the stickings, okay? So all of this stuff that I just showed you in A and B, now I'm going to apply it, okay? topic or the next example that I want to deal with now after the track deals with now learning world beats. When I say world beats, authentic rhythms beyond your bubble. Some people just may play in church. Some people just may play country. Some people just may play rock. Some people just may play funk. There are different cultures. There are different ways of hearing music and playing rhythm. And I just want to demonstrate a few of those just to get you started, just the basic, something really, like again, I said, this is a method of practice. So when you look at this, I want you to be able to say, oh, here's something that I can work on here in this section. The first world beat that I'm going to deal with is the 6/8 El Nino, as the term that we like to use at Atlanta Institute of Music. And it's a bembe. It's also the term I used or I learned in Drummers Collective. Different parts of the country, different parts of the world call it different things. But I'm just going to demonstrate that. I'm going to walk through that slowly. Second world beat that I'm going to deal with is a Brazilian rhythm called the samba. 1, 2, 3, 4. Third and final world beat example that I want to demonstrate is one of my favorite. It's kind of a New Orleans, Zydeco type of feel, kind of variated, but I'm just, again, just trying to dish out ideas of something to practice. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Of course, there are many other rhythms that I can go into: funk, reggae, shuffle, blues shuffle, all kinds of stuff. But like I said, this is just something to show you how to approach the A section, the B section, the C section, and some things that you can work on. The next thing that I want to talk about is approaching odd time signatures. Which opens up a whole nother world, which says that you really have to have a foundation in your 10 subdivision rhythms, what we talked about in the A section, and your timing, okay? You really have to have that down. I'm going to try to break this down in simplest form, and I'm going to deal with the time signature of 5/4 first. First, I'm going to play 4/4. 4/4 time signature being this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, Okay, within that, I can use many different counting systems. 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3, 1, 3, 4. And when I say time signature, what that means is when you look at a sheet of paper or you look at something that has notation on it, you'll see two numbers, one at the top and one at the bottom. 4-4, or sometimes you'll see it with a C, which means common time. 4-4. Those numbers represent. Let's deal with the top one first. Top one tells you how many. Okay, how many beats are in a measure? Measure from bar line to bar line. How many beats are in this measure? Okay, and the bottom number tells you what value each of those beats are going to get. So in the case of 4-4, you have 4 beats in the measure. Okay, how many and what value? Each beat is going to get a quarter note value. Okay, now dealing with 5-4, that means I just add one extra beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5. Now, dealing with 5/8 time signature, I'm trying to do this in simplest form without having to go into breaking it down. It's basically cutting 5/4 in half. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dealing with 5/4 time signature, top number tells me that I have 5 beats in this measure. Bottom number tells me that each one of those beats is going to get a quarter note value. So if I was to count that out, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, if I was to use one of the counting systems, which would be straight eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Okay? Now, top number tells me that I have 5 beats in the measure. Bottom number tells me that I have 5/4, which will tell me 4 quarter notes, or should I say each of the 5 beats will get a quarter note value. Now, dealing with 5/8, 5 at the top, 5 beats in the measure. Now, the 8 tells me that each note is going to receive an eighth note value. So that means now the eighth note now becomes the dominant pulse. So as opposed to counting it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, okay? Now it's going to seem to be cut in half, okay? Which means now every eighth note now gets its own beat, and I'm supposed to have 5 within this measure. So that means it's going to be counted like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, if I was to play that, I'm going to switch from 4/4 to 5/4 to 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Now I'm going to play something in 5/4 and 5/8, and I'm going to switch back and forth, and I'll count them out in front of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, 1. Do you notice the difference between how I'm switching back and forth between 5/4 and 5/8? Now, I could take one of those time signatures and make it as a dominant and don't have to switch back and forth. And that's something you can play around with and have some fun. That's just another something within the C section that you can work on as far as musicality and to still challenge yourself, okay? Next, I'm going to deal with 7/4. Now we're adding 3 beats to 4/4, if that makes sense. Trying to keep it in simplest form. Here's 4/4. 1, 3, 1, 3, 7, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? 7/4 into 7/8, just like we did the 5/4 into 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I want to thank you for sharing with me in this ABC practice method. I pray that this method will encourage you. I pray that this method gives you a sense of hope as far as what to practice, how to practice. And I'm almost forgetting to share the greatest part of the revelation concerning the ABC method. Let's take an hour, 60 minutes. Let's divide it by 3. I have 3 20-minute segments. Some people ask me, how long should I practice? Now that we know or have a general consensus of some things that I can practice in each individual section, now I know I can space it out in an hour. If all I had was an hour a day, if I'm so busy or, that's all I have to practice, my mom is sleeping, or, I got a job, I can't do this, I can't do that, I got to work, for whatever reason. If all I had was an hour, I know that I can effectively cover a lot of ground in 60 minutes. A section from, let's just say 12 noon to 12:20, the B section from 12:20 to 12:40, and the C section from 12:40 to 1 p.m. Now, if you wanted more time, just divide 2 hours by 3, or however much time you have, divide it by 3, and you'll know you have an equal amount of time to work on the A, B, and C. Now, it's up to you to decide on where you are. I encourage you to get with a teacher and kind of categorize what you need to work on in those 3 arenas or areas, or however you want to call it or name it. And I pray that this really blesses you. It's really revolutionized my playing and my practice time. I even teach from this method. My school is ran from this method. I practice this method, and I grow. I see my growth every day. I see my growth every week. I see it on paper because I mark down what I did, for this 20 minutes, what I did for that 20 minutes, what I did for that 20 minutes. And I mark it down, and I won't go back to it, or I'll know to move on from it. So I pray that this helps you. Thank you for supporting, and God bless.
Thanks for watching Dynamic Drumming Volume 3 with Chris Coleman. But before we let you go, we want to show you our next featured artist, Jesse Carabello.